afternoon, guys. My name is Cassie Trevino, and the title of my speech is Put It Down, Look Around. And today I will be talking to you about a time before social media and mobile technology, the amount of time spent on social media and mobile technology, and what we can do with that time, all that time. So, how many of you guys have Twitter, Snapchat, Facebook, Pinterest, Instagram? How many of you guys go on one or more of these sites daily? All right, how many of you guys go on these sites to fill up time when you're waiting in line, waiting for the bus, as soon as you get out of class, in class? I know you guys, I'm watching you. You can raise your hand and do it. How many of you guys recall a time when you first sent, or when you last sent a handwritten letter to somebody? Oh, wow. How about a time you sent a note to your friend or a crush in school? And we can go back all the way to middle school or elementary school on this. All right, okay, so we've all done this. And so just think about that time and think about now. How do we send notes now? How do we send messages now to people? Through text message or through our mobile devices, cell phones. So before I get to this, I remember when I was little, playing outside, climbing trees, getting into mud fights, and getting in trouble because I would ruin my clothes. I also remember going into the fields during recess in elementary school and looking for four-leaf clovers or finding ladybugs and capturing them and talking to them like they're friends. And thinking about it now, this time sounds like something that you'd read out of a fictional book, like a fairy tale childhood. How many of you guys recall moments like these in your childhood? All right. So the reason I like to think that I'm here in Hawaii right now is that during that time in my childhood, I was able to develop a sense of self-discovery and curiosity about the world. And I would think also that time helped contribute to why you're all here today and why we want to travel the world or why we want to learn or know about things we have no idea about. Because when we were little, and before we had screens to look at, before we had mobile technology to keep us busy or to keep us distracted, we had our imaginations. And now I'm getting older, I notice a trend between younger kids and generations that it's just getting easier to throw a screen at them and to keep them busy and to keep them distracted. So on average now, 2.5 hours is spent daily on mobile technology, social media, and microblogging. So what microblogging is, it's pretty much status updates. Facebook updates, Twitter, Instagram, we post something and it has a brief message right under it. So if you look at that, that's 13 hours a week, 51 hours a month, 607 hours a year, or 25 full 24-hour days spent on social media or our mobile technology. How ridiculous does this number sound to you guys? Like, pretty ridiculous, right? But it's true, and I mean, that's how easy it is for us to go through time spending on our mobile devices, social media, or technology. So, an example I have is, I had my first Twitter account in 7th grade, and I had it for about 7 years. I accumulated about 21,783 tweets, and per tweet was about 117 characters. So that's letters, not words, because there's only a 135 character limit on Twitter for your tweets. I multiplied that. That came out to over 2.5 million characters. In perspective, so another thing that I looked up is that the average college student types in between 190 to 200 characters per minute. So I divided my characters by 190, so that came out to be 13,414 minutes of character typing on Twitter that I spent on Twitter, or 224 hours of tweeting. And that was over 7 years. Since then, I deleted my Twitter because I realized how much time it was taking up from my life that was pretty irrelevant. So, I mean, I would tweet about how hungry I was or how terrible the weather is, and those things are completely irrelevant to my life right now and completely irrelevant to you guys right now also. And I just, like, after I deleted it, I started reading, I started writing, and I started doing things that I enjoyed as a kid before social media and before Twitter. I loved to read. Reading expanded my imagination and expanded my vocabulary, and I stopped that ever since, like, social media came into my life. But once I got rid of my Twitter, like, it was so easy for me to pick up a book and, like, go through it real quickly. You know? So now we see microblogging status updates. We see them on Facebook. We see them on blogs. We see them on Instagram. And, you know, have we ever stopped to think that maybe these personal, relevant posts or not so relevant posts on social media because we can't convey them in our day-to-day, face-to-face conversations anymore? Or have the conversations that we used to have face-to-face have been diluted into these status updates or this microblogging? Like, are we slowly losing touch with our personal relationships by, like, physical face-to-face contact because we're putting it on a screen or the screen in front of us? And I was talking to my roommate about this, and she told me, well, Cassie, I mean, Tumblr, Facebook, Twitter, that's where a lot of people put their feelings on, and it helps them feel noticed. But then I thought, well, maybe it's because we're neglecting those feelings of people face to face that we go straight to the internet to reaffirm our feelings. I mean, we get those feelings reaffirmed through likes and through comments. And if you're not reaffirmed, then how does that make you feel about yourself? How does that make the person talking about you feel? You know, it's an interesting dynamic that's going on social media. This type of technology has created a dependency on the social structure of our human relationships. You know, when we were kids, we relied on our imaginations to keep us busy, to keep us distracted. But nowadays, like how I notice with my younger cousins, they're always coming up to me asking me if I have any games on my phone for them to play with, or they're asking for the Wi-Fi password as soon as they walk into the house, and just like, it's crazy. It's pretty crazy, you know? And I understand it's an easy way to keep kids distracted, and it's an easy way to keep them entertained, but is this the way we want our kids to grow up? Do we want them to grow up with a reliance on technology and social media to keep them busy or to keep them distracted? Because that's not how we grew up. So, a term that's used for people who are, like, dependent on social media or who spend a lot of time on social media, like the 2.5 hours a day, is called FOMO. That stands for fear of missing out. It's social angst characterized by a desire to stay continually connected with what others are doing. Have you guys ever felt like a sense of anxiety or like what's going on if your phone's dead? I mean, how many of you guys felt that? You know, you feel like you're going to miss something out, or you freak out if you forget your phone at home. You have to go back, you stop whatever you're doing, you go back home, take all that time just to get your phone, just to feel connected, to feel like you're not missing out on anything. But you have your phone on you the entire time, the rest of that, you know, say the rest of the night if you wouldn't have your phone, and you get no texts, you get no calls, you just have that sense of security that your phone's with you in case you miss something, but you really don't. So, I mean, another thing that I took in an example of time that we use making status updates or tweeting is J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter Chamber of Secrets. The word count on that is 84,799. So the words per minute typed by college students on average is 38. So I took that and divided it. That came out to be 2,232 minutes or 37 hours straight of typing. And you know, you could get a multi-million-dollar novel 16 times in that time if we multiplied that with the amount of time total we spend in a year on social media and mobile technology. So we always talk about how there's never enough time in a day to get things done, or we always complain about how we have lack of sleep, which consequently sometimes, almost all the time, turns into a status update or a tweet. And maybe this is the reason why, because we spend too much time on our social media and mobile technology without even realizing it. So, thank you for listening, guys.